Happy Friday, everyone. And we decided to do the Mindful Entrepreneur talks today on Friday because why not? We are creating a new movement. Hustle culture is out, and it's all about leading with heart, leading with intention, following our purpose, and doing it mindfully, doing it in harmony. And I'm Isabella Kavesic, your host. I am a business coach and a life coach and a co-founder at Blue Water Performance. And we meet with our friends, our clients, and sometimes perfect strangers to really talk about how do we bring more of that beautiful harmony into our lives, our businesses. We share tips, we share strategies, and making it really practical for you, because sometimes we can underestimate a tool that we're using or a strategy that can really immensely help someone else. So today we're talking with one of our friends, Cathy Davis, and I'm just going to welcome her in. I see her right here. Davis and Company, one of the, I would say, most popular and go-to efficient companies in Niagara, in Canada. She'll be joining shortly. But this is what we mean when we always talk about, it's not about perfection. It's about pushing yourself forward, trying new things, even though sometimes you may do it sideways. So I'm just so proud of Cathy, who will be rejoining us very shortly. And I see you, Sarah. I see you, Maria. Glow by Marsha. I see you, Bluebird. I see you. There is a whole bunch of you this morning. So thank you so much for coming. Yes. So normally we do these interviews on Wednesdays, but you know what? We decided to do one on Friday and see how it goes. Can you bring me back? Yes, I can. So everyone, let's just, okay, I'm trying to bring her back. And let's see, it's Cathy. Will she be upside down on the side? And it's okay, because it's all about taking that inspired action and showing up for our businesses, showing up for ourselves to push forward, letting us step out of that comfort zone. So I know she's coming. I'm currently delivering cookies. Yes. Okay. So Maria works with Cathy, and for Valentine's, they decided to make and deliver these beautiful Valentine's cookies to their clients and their partners in Niagara. So I'm so proud of you ladies for doing that. Just sharing extra love. So let's say if we can get Cathy back. I know we will. She might be sideways, but at least she is going to join us. And as we're waiting for Cathy, I really believe when we are creating a culture of progress and celebration, we attract more beautiful things into our lives. We elevate our confidence, we elevate that inspired action and create that beautiful momentum. So I would love to see in a chat here, in the comments, whoever is watching, or if it's recording after, that's great. I would love to see what progress, what wins have you accomplished this week. So really take it a moment and let me know. And I don't know if I can read it. So Cathy, if you're watching this, I don't know if I can read. We're just waiting. So everyone who is watching us today, please share your wins and your progress for this week, and never underestimate the power of your win. And don't think about it being that big as, can I say that on Instagram? I don't know. Win, really, it's about that little steps that you took. And that was Bruno pushing me, and you guys. So let's see if we can. So yeah, I would love to see your wins. So please keep sharing. Completing a bunch of, they take a lot of time. Yes, they do. And look at that.
4 a.m.
Yay, you see, guys.
I know.
You're
Technology.
amazing. And you know what?
Yeah,
Every
you just shift, right? Let's just go
you
with it.
pivot.
You pivot.
I had one of the clients when we were working together, and I told her she was so scared of showing up on camera. And you know what? She did decide, with a little bit of a loving nudge, she decided to show up on camera, but she was upside down. And you know what? She didn't care because she says, Isabella, this is amazing. And it's really about just pushing yourself a little bit,
It
right? It's doing something new.
is. It is for sure. I'm going to maybe turn this way. Maybe the light will be better.
Oh,
That's,
that's a beautiful light. And
there
you
you
look at
go.
your gorgeous hair today. Yes.
Yeah. I have to go out. As you just heard from Maria, we are still we are still doing drop-offs, so it's going to be a fantastic day.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this initiative you just did.
Well, we actually used to do this in the beginning for
Mhm.
many years. We used to do it at Christmas and be little Christmas elves and go out. I used to look at who our top clients were, make a list of them, and just, see. I think at that time, we literally, I think we're going to about 50 to 60 venues and vendors. And my team worked like little elves, and we packaged something. Um, we made little packages, and then we would divide up the areas, maybe Jordan and then maybe Niagara on the Lake, because we're here in Niagara.
Yeah.
Maybe up on the bench, maybe Font Hill. So it's a really big territory here.
Hmm.
And since then, we've developed out into London, KW, Muskoka, Toronto, Mississauga, and Picton. So this year, we're keeping it here in Niagara, but you never know. We may be coming to you soon if you're
Ooh.
watching from outside those areas, if you work in the wedding industry. And it's a great way of connecting with clients, and with our vendors and venues we work at all the time, and just to say a little thank you, right? And I think for them, it's a little bit of a surprise. They didn't, most of them didn't know we were coming, or I just said, are you going to be in? So we have been playing little Cupids. I don't know if you've seen any of the posts yet, but we have a little something that we're wearing. Anyways, like little heart glasses. Anyways, they're really cute.
Beautiful.
Um, so
I
we've been
saw it.
pulling
I
out.
saw it. It's very
Mhm.
cute.
Yeah.
But this is what we mean around, and we'll get to, because our focus today will be, yes, we're going to talk about some strategies, but also around how because I think you're a master at building community. So we'll talk about that. But I think it's so important to understand and share those even tips, what you just shared around client excellence and client satisfaction, because sometimes we can really underestimate what those little gestures do. But being keep of mind, right? It's about being keep of mind and nurturing those beautiful relationships with a simple thing like a little heart-shaped cookie.
I know I was able to partner up with Cheryl from Cake by Cheryl here,
Mhm.
and she made hearts that have writing on it, and then there's a little wedding cake with blue, this color blue,
Yes.
with our branding color, going around the cake, and then and also a little wedding dress, or a wedding ring. She has all sorts of little cookies like that, so and some chocolate chip, because everybody needs a little chocolate. So it was really fun packaging them with her, spending the time with her, right, and catching up with her while we were doing that, and then now going out and just reconnecting. And it's easy to become
Yes.
complacent, I think,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
sometimes you need to shift a little bit, or sometimes things happen and it's like, oh yeah, we still need to keep doing building community. It's always been important to me from day
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, no, and you're so good at it, because so let's first take a moment so you can properly introduce yourself, as the audience may not know
Okay.
what exactly you do. Yeah, so please take it away.
Yes. So my name is Cathy Davis. I have a large team of wedding officiants, funeral celebrants, just as mentioned in the areas that we are at now. One time I started actually doing funerals first. So
Mm.
I started 21 years ago, which is crazy to even utter those
Wow.
words. And so I was quite young to be a funeral celebrant, but I had lost my dad very young. And then my husband was a funeral director, and who knew a few years later I would lose him as well. So I think it provided me a level of compassion and empathy and understanding of what it was like to lose someone, and especially at a young age, right? So, um, you know, writing a funeral, I go out and meet with the family, gather information, come home, write something from scratch every single time, and stand up and speak.
Mhm.
And parallel to that, I was overseeing weddings. I've been around weddings my whole career. I studied business in hotel management.
Mhm.
So from a young age, I was planning parties. I planned my parents' 25th wedding anniversary when I was in my late teens. So it's just always something that's come very easily to
Mhm.
me, and I enjoy it. So I was doing weddings kind of in the daytime,
Mhm.
evenings, weekends, and then I could do funerals in the morning. So finally, the two, if you will say, if you will allow me to say, the two worlds, clashed. They married together. I finally got my license, and so for 12 years, I've been officiating weddings as well,
Mhm.
on top of the years
Beautiful.
before in planning. So I never thought at 50 funerals a year, the weddings would ever overtake that. And I was told to dream big and try and focus on 300 weddings a year. And I thought that was impossible, 10 years ago, my young little self. And you know what? And now we're doing over 600. So um,
Wow. Wow.
I'm very, proud of the work our team has done. And I lead this team with lots of heart. That's why when I met you, it was such a great connection right away. We're so aligned on how we think, and it's just been such a joy to have you in my life
Thank
now.
you. It was likewise
Yeah,
such a joy, right? I always say, right people, aligned people always find each other
yeah.
because living life and doing business when you are surrounded by the right people shouldn't be
No,
hard. No.
it should not be. And you always need reminders along the way, and that's why I've built community as well. Um, not just because I had gone from a big hotel where I was surrounded by people all day to being at home with my beautiful golden retriever puppies, but they're great company, but they don't talk back to you. So they don't give you ideas, and they don't support you and encourage you. So, so I found very quickly that I was lacking that, and I needed that in my life. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, because you share that energy that it's almost like your energy gets activated, right? When you're
absolutely.
surrounding yourself with other team members, community members. So share what was one of the most memorable, whether it's funerals or weddings, but what was
Also,
most, yeah, memorable about it?
I mean, there's there's hundreds of both, right? So to kind of
Mhm.
pinpoint one, I mean, I've done them in pretty amazing, remarkable places, like at the top of a, Ferris wheel, or on the hornblower,
Oh,
because
wow.
the inspired Jim and Pam from The Office, that show, everybody wanted to get married on the Maid of the Mist or the
That's
hornblower.
right.
So
Yes, yes.
we're still doing, I still, like, just a few weeks ago, got a call that they are huge fans of The Office and want to do that this summer.
Wow.
So it's quite fun. Um, but I mean, it's the love stories. I've four people on my team that were actually couples that I married, right? And you create these amazing relationships with them, and then lo and behold, before you know it, I'm talking to them, and I see that they have that talent. They already had it, or were doing something similar, and I thought, no, you have to come on my team. So I've been lucky with that. Some amazing life stories. I mean, 20 years ago, I was telling a lot of war stories still, right? A lot of World War II vets, and then Vietnam vets, Marines, and rear gunners of airplanes shot down in Japan during it's been an incredible journey. It's an incredible honor, to be able to tell these stories. And and do that for families, because there's a lot of value in having, when they talk to us, they don't realize how important it is to tell that story,
Yeah.
right? Telling
Yeah.
someone's life story, and having that part of the grieving process to come to closure, is a big part of it. And people now are just saying, "Oh, he didn't want a funeral, so we're going to do nothing," and they're not. They're not going
Yeah.
to heal.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
you
been a
know,
huge journey.
yeah.
Mhm.
And yes, and sorry sorry, were you saying something else, Kathy?
No, it's just been, just the
Yeah.
journey of, and then also the fact that nobody ever wanted to see me again. It was like, oh, it was so nice meeting you. We love you, but we hope we don't have to see you again, because all I was doing was funerals, right? As far as the
Yeah.
service.
Yeah.
And then to be able to let those families know, hey, guess what? I'm doing weddings now. And then have them contact me. And then you create these relationships,
Mhm.
like these little tribes of people, right? And it's, just like working at a church would have, the minister do the weddings and funerals and christenings of that family. And it's very similar work. I'm still meeting with people. I'm learning a story and I'm standing up and telling it, whether it's the story of someone's love and how they met and how they fell in love and why they love each other,
Yes.
or someone's
Yeah.
life.
And stories are so important because they really do shape us. And I find when we can honor the past, right, and tell the story with heart. And I've seen some examples when you shared how beautiful you weave. You have a very, I would say, distinct process how you onboard, whether it's the couple or the family, to really honoring their past or their journey or their relationship. And yeah, you're just a very gifted writer and a storyteller. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
making the world a better place, Kathy.
Well, thank
Honestly.
you. I mean, it's an honor. And it was just my brother-in-law and sister-in-law took a funeral celebrant course. They owned a funeral home, and they just said, "Hey, we think you'd be good at this." And
Yeah.
it just here I am
Yeah.
at it. It wasn't
Yeah.
something I planned on. I think my high school guidance counselor told me that, given, that you do those little, filling out all of these quizzes, and, oh, given your answers to these questions, we think you would be a good, right, teacher, or work in ministry. They said you should work in ministry. And I said, no. and and here I am,
Yeah.
right? So,
And you're also a teacher,
and I
right?
love
Like you're,
teaching. I
yeah,
love teaching my
yeah,
team, and, setting them off on their journey, which is beautiful to watch them grow,
yeah,
and what they're doing too, and cheer them on. And it's such a
yeah,
joy. It really is.
yeah. No, and it's amazing. And I've seen you grow so much, even like since last year when we met, right?
Mhm.
Even though it does feel like we were, you
I know. Like we
know,
knew each other forever.
like sisters from the
Uh-huh.
past, right? Like
Yeah,
as if we knew each other from birth, pretty much. And
100%.
so 100%. It's like this is when, yeah, when you meet the right people in your path. So, Kathy, tell me, because you have built this beautiful community, and every person I meet, I'm like, oh, yeah, I meet Kathy. Like, even one of my clients now, she's just like, oh, I know Kathy. Of course you do. And it's like all these right people just suddenly, oh, you know each other too. Oh, you right. So
No.
it's you're magnetizing like those similar people with beautiful mindset and beautiful hearts. So let's share today some of maybe tips or lessons you've learned from the past to how to build that beautiful community.
Right. So I know you're a huge proponent of coffee dates, right? You've sent us out on coffee dates. So, in our business coaching,
Mhm.
but well, again, when I left my job, which was in 2010, and I was sitting at home with my dogs, I would just, I started to meet vendors at that point. I was doing them, and every time you're, at a venue, it is an opportunity to meet two or three new people, right? There's always a DJ there, a wedding coordinator, a wedding planner, maybe. And then there's photographers, videographers, all these people. So when you're there and you meet them and you feel a good connection, you keep in touch. And it was only Facebook back then, no Instagram.
Mhm.
So, it was following one another and kind of start cheering one another on. And then I thought, I want to go and just sit at Starbucks and work, and maybe people will want to join me. So I would just put on Facebook, hey, I'm going to be at this Starbucks on Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock if anybody wants to come and hang out. And people were like, "Oh, you're working at Starbucks?" No, 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 I don't work at Starbucks as a behind the counter,
Barista.
but I am not a barista at all. But I would just sit at a big table, and then if people could join in, they could join in, right?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, people started showing up.
Mhm.
And of course, as you know, um, depending on where you are in your journey as an entrepreneur or in life in general, there were some older people that were coming out and some younger people, and
Mhm.
um, everybody has something that they can teach, right? There
Yes.
was there was a lot I was learning from them, maybe about social media, but I'd already at that point then had almost 20 years in the business, so
Mhm. Mhm.
I started planning weddings when I was getting faxes, right? Of like, this is how I want my head table set up. And now there's Pinterest and Instagram. So it's been fun to watch it. Um, and then from those, we would get more and more people. And then we were holding each other accountable, right? Which is so important.
Mhm.
And then I found a mastermind group, which really skyrocketed. That would have been about 10 years ago,
Mhm.
with some women in this industry. Kaylin from Bloom and Co., who is, I mean, I don't even know how many tens of thousands of followers she has now. And Angelica and Josie from Simply Beautiful, who are one of the hugest decor, people in the province now. But these women and I and a few others all met, and we would meet at the Husky truck stop.
Oh.
Because we would meet for breakfast at 8 a.m. on, I think it was like the third Wednesday of the month or whatever that specific
Yeah.
date was. But it was so convenient in Niagara on the Lake. Like, it was just central. It was only a 10-minute drive for each of us to come from wherever we were coming from. But we'd be all dressed up and hair done, makeup done, ready for our day, and go there. And all the guys were coming in like,
To the
who are
truck
you? Like,
stop.
who are you ladies? Like, what are you doing? It was a good breakfast, believe it or
Yeah.
not. Like, it was amazing. And so it was so funny, to watch it. Like, they would all come up and ask us what we were doing and who we are, and they thought we were real estate agents or whatever. So it was fun. And then, but it was again about holding each other accountable, and that went on for probably a year and a half, once a month.
Mhm.
And then we all just kind of went our ways, and I think almost everybody on that group has done it really well since then.
Mhm.
And then again, I was still doing these Starbucks, not so orderly. When in that group was like, hey, why don't we do it in a nighttime meeting? And I was like, I don't know, like, I have little kids at home, but maybe. And then Laura Beck and I, and Eva Derrick, I think, was there at the beginning, Natasha Weilink. There was a little core group of us that
Mhm.
were like, yeah, this could be a thing. And so Laura was fantastic, and she would get the whole year in advance, every month a venue, every month a speaker. So there was a topic, and we would go to a different venue every month, and we've been doing that. Um, None of those ladies come to the meetings anymore, unfortunately. Some, like a lot of them have, especially since COVID, they've gone off in different
Yeah.
directions, but still doing fantastic things.
Mhm.
Um, and so that group is still going on, called Event Professionals of Niagara, and now has something like, I think last time I looked on Facebook, there was something like 830 members.
Wow.
Wow. And we still meet once a month at different venues, and we get to see different wineries, and the venues get to host, and they get
Mhm.
to show us, their beautiful venues and showcase their
Yeah.
properties. So
But
it's
you have your own community now.
yes.
So
So
yeah.
again, like, I've had to rebuild it since
Mhm.
COVID. And in COVID, I was going out in the middle of vineyards,
Mhm.
and trying to go Instagram live, and have like interactive because I wanted to, just be somewhere
Yeah.
different. And everybody was really sick of sitting at home at that point. So we kept meeting
Mhm.
through that, but it's now gaining momentum again. So the second Tuesday of every month, we meet typically at the same venue, which is downtown St. Catharines at Mate Cafe. It's Niagara's Creative Entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
Um, it started out as a Tuesdays Together chapter, um, but we had to move away from them. So I just try and find amazing women like you, and not just women, we have men that come and speak as well, business leaders, people who have something to share. And we were very honored to have you come and speak. I think it was a year ago exactly
Yeah.
this month.
Yeah. Unbelievable how fast time flies. And thank you for saying, for inviting me and saying yes to me. And then the rest is history.
The rest is history. Um, and since then, we've been growing together
Yeah.
and learning from each other. And again, sometimes it's just going back to the basics
Mhm.
and just remembering, oh yeah, you can't ever give this up or get complacent with anything. You have to continue to evolve. And also for me now, it's teaching the new people on the team how they can evolve or they can help, or
Mhm.
hey, why don't the three of you on my team, why don't you put together
Yeah.
this, right? And let them, because I'm running out of time in a day.
Yes. Well, it's that delegation.
Yeah.
And I love what you're saying about going back to basics, because it's so, and I do it too sometimes, but I just catch myself and it's easier. But I think as people are starting out, it's so easy to lose focus with the next shiny object or the next strategy or the AI tool or
Yeah.
whatever, whatever, whatever. But when you're really focused on like the business fundamentals, like
Yes.
what you were even sharing, um you know like to show up to your clients and just show them a little bit of love,
Yeah. It's
right?
Valentine's Day month,
It's
right? Why
Valentine's.
not?
Yes. And, just being that top of mind, creating or continuing and nourishing that relationship.
Mhm.
And then to your point, having a community that comes together regularly, because I find so this sometimes lack of focus and going after the next shiny
Yeah.
object, this is where that overwhelm happens. And also when entrepreneurs and business professionals, when they don't have those strategies built in place for consistency and accountability.
100%.
And I think this is why, like, even your mastermind worked, even those monthly community get togethers where you are creating space for
And
entrepreneurs in Niagara, in the wedding industry, to come together to meet. Maybe it's to meet their potential clients, but also meet the next collaborator, maybe a future partner, right? Because I think
100%.
when we can lean on each other, we can accelerate each other's growth versus being in competition, right? Because we may not be for everyone, but
No.
we'll be perfect for some.
Hmm. Absolutely. And there's a few things I've always wanted to do that I've been able to do this year with that community. We did some stylized shoots with girls in that
Mhm.
group, with florists, decor, photographers.
Yeah.
We've been out at Amma Winery, set it up to look like a wedding was happening,
Ooh.
had models from our group um, who are stunning and beautiful. And it was just, and cake person, it was just such an incredible fun day, right? To get
Yeah.
together and let our creative juices flow, which is what, that's, what we do. There was a lot of creatives in my group. But sometimes creatives may have not studied business. Maybe they don't have a business brain, right?
Yeah.
When they're in creativity mode, it's like they might not be good at email. So then it's sharing with them how to maybe use a CRM,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Or just all the tools that there are out there to help them be more efficient and be more productive and help them grow. I've been really fortunate to see especially a lot of young women in the business grow as wedding planners or coordinators at venues or whoever it is, photographers, even there's a gentleman that I'm thinking of, but they know who they are. I think that, I would really just love to help people, lead with my heart. Um, I, it's fun to watch people
Yeah.
grow, right? And
And
then come
it
along with,
shows, Kathy, like it shows, right? You can't fake that.
yeah.
Yeah. And look at, like, even, and I was honored to come to your Christmas party, and you had the food
Mhm.
drive, and like so many people showed up, and they kept coming and
I
coming. I'm like,
know.
where are they
I,
coming from? It was
I know you were
beautiful.
the first one there. It was
I
so fun. And
know.
I was like,
It's
well,
the nerd.
I hope people come.
I know.
You,
I was
you just have to
such a
put it
nerd.
out there.
You know, one of my values is it's time, because I know how, right? I always talk about energy and time. These are the two things that you can never really get back. So you really have to be mindful what you do, how you do it. And for me, time is such an important thing. And then when I showed up and no one was there, I was thinking, my goodness, did I get the time wrong? And you were like, no, no, come on in.
Yep. No, you were just, there. And I love that about you. You're always on time or early for every meeting, and something that I aspire to be better at.
Okay,
But
just the
you know,
evolution.
I
Yeah.
know. And so, it's just really fun to, that's another thing I like to do every year is host. And that is that day group. I host them at Christmas, and I have been doing that for a few years.
Mhm.
And we try and do, something for the community, which I think is important as well.
Yeah.
But getting back to, carving out time and how important time is, that's another great reminder to entrepreneurs, especially in my industry, because everything happens so far in advance, right?
Hmm.
So before you
That's
know
right.
it, especially when you're starting out, you don't say no to much, right? You really are taking on everything you
Yeah.
can get your hands on at that point. But you have to remember, even though like all those weddings may be a year and a half away,
Hmm.
you have to remember always to block that time off, right?
Hmm.
And we're not a Monday to Friday operation. We are
Hmm.
evenings, weekends. I had a call last Saturday to do a wedding Tuesday, 3 days ago, and I did it, right? So you
Hmm.
just never know what's coming, especially funerals, right? I could get a call on Monday and be doing a service on Thursday. So you kind of have to drop everything and push things out of your calendar that may have been in there to make that happen.
Hmm.
And it's a good thing that people around us are understanding and know that.
Hmm.
Um, but as far as the thing that I've really worked on the last few years is taking vacation, and booking, because we have to book it sometimes a year and a half in advance, right?
Hmm.
So that we don't book weddings on those weekends. So looking ahead,
Hmm.
or saying, okay, I have 3 out of 4 weekends that, booked that month. Maybe I should block that other one off so that I have time for me, so that you don't get overworked, you don't start
Yeah.
resenting what you're doing, and you
Yes.
still have joy and passion for it, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. So you're saying, yeah, from that strategy around looking at the time, looking at the calendar, because
mhm.
I think your industry, especially when I look at weddings, right? Like it is seasonal, even though yes, they happen
Yeah,
throughout, but right?
yeah,
But mostly it's those few months. So you do need to make sure, I would say, replenish that energy before and
yes,
after, and your calendar,
yes,
yeah, like being very honest with yourself.
yeah,
It's like, what do you need right now, right? Because
yes,
it's, I think in your field that someone is starting out, absolutely they would say yes to a lot of things,
hmm,
but then that burnout and overwhelm can happen, right? So being more purposeful, right? What you're
yeah,
saying yes to is very important.
right. Which is, something you talk a lot about as well. Be like, leading with your heart, but being mindful and purposeful in everything that you do. And it's so important. And, you learn that over time. You learn boundaries, you learn, all of those
Mm-hmm.
things. And self
For
care, entrepreneurs, is a huge thing that many forget about, right? Building that into your day. It is really great. Like if you wanted to go to a fitness class at 11 a.m., you could go to a fitness class at 11 a.m. And build your day around that, right?
Yeah.
It is nice to have flexibility and that you're not answering to someone. You don't have to be somewhere, but on the same token, you have to remember that you're the boss. And and I say this a lot too. I say, would you be happy with your employee if they only went to one sales meeting a month, or, only did one coffee date a month? Because you are a salesperson, you are the
Uh-huh.
marketing person. What if you only posted one post a month? Would you get fired? Maybe, if you were working for someone else, right? So if you can't do those things, give them to someone who can,
Yeah.
but also just make sure you're balancing everything, even the hats, right? The accounting, the leadership,
Yeah.
the teaching, the Instagram, the social media, the marketing, all those things that we have to do, sales, right? And being mindful of that
Yeah.
as well.
And you often, and thank you for sharing that. Like I often, you hear me speak about stepping into your CEO, whether you are an actual
Mm,
CEO or if you're running business, you better
yep,
believe it, you're the CEO of your business and your life,
yep.
right? So
And
are you
you, and
acting
you,
like one?
yeah, and you spoke to my team, right? You came in
Yeah.
and spoke to them on CEO mindset, because really, everyone on my team, like we're a collaborative group, but everybody, kind of does their own thing as well. They're all in charge of themselves and getting their own business too, and bringing that, right? So it's CEO mindset, and thinking that way, and believing in yourself, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, it's critical. It's absolutely critical. And it's like, you know, it's easy to forget about it, but
So easy.
that's why, like, you often hear me talk about the power of the morning routine, and it's no matter what happens and how the weather is, right? It's so easy to find excuses, but when we show up with intention and we can decide, we can decide every day, whether it's snow snowstorm outside, gray air. It's like, hey, I'm gonna have a great
Yep,
day and I'm gonna step into my CEO and I'm just
yep,
going to crush it,
exactly.
right? And it
Yeah.
starts with that mindset versus when I think it's easy, and I think it's, when you see things around and the external factors, it's easy to fall into the victim mentality. But I always remind everyone, it's like, no, 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 it's up to us. It's up to us to create that life, the business that we love, surrounding yourself with people that can uplift you on the way. And sometimes it's
Yes.
really about maybe borrowing someone else's confidence to, right?
Yeah.
To help with yours.
It's a lot of fake it till you make it in the beginning. It really, like, I say that to my team. It's like, and especially when they're first starting out, they're worried like, oh, I don't have any testimonials. I said, yes, you do. You've done another job. Like
Yeah.
all of those skills port over,
Yes.
right? And it's things like that take, in getting out there and building your confidence, and once you're doing it for a little while, becoming more confident. But it is a challenge to overcome for sure, and there's always times where you're going to slouch down and come back up. But when you have community around you, and when you have, people are holding you accountable, like you're holding me accountable now, um, because you've been supporting me. I've loved doing your workshop on creating a my vision board,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And already looking back, and when I look at it, unfortunately, I'm not in my office today, right at the moment, where it's hangs, but I saw it yesterday, and I purposely, I was looking at the words and looking at the pictures and looking at the things that I'm already like they're happening,
Yes.
right? And it
Yes.
was 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Um,
We did it was November 30th, I think. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's over 2 months now. So looking at the beach, and I'm leaving for a beach in a few days, and just all of those things, right? And living with gratitude in everything you do. You have to, there you learn from everything that happens, right? In life, there's always
Yeah,
something to learn. There's always a reason for it. It might take a while to figure it out, but it always shows itself, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um,
And we're only humans, right? Like, I mean, it's a
mhm.
wonderful thing to be human, but those emotions can play jokes on us sometimes. And I think
Yes.
it's tools like vision board, tools like affirmation,
Mhm.
tools like showing up to a mastermind. It really
Yeah.
helps us nurture that belief. It helps us to take those inspired actions and remind us, especially with the beautiful creative tool like the vision board we were doing. It's really remind us of our dreams and our goals, and then you're like, holy crap, I said I'm going to do this and I'm not, so I better, right,
Right.
step into my
Just
CEO.
again, it's the reminders, right?
Yes,
And having that as a visual reminder every day when you're sitting at your desk, like, oh yeah, I said I was going to do this year, right?
yes,
Um, and it's giving yourself grace, right? You have to give yourself grace. It's progress, not perfection. I say that all
yes.
the time too. And of course, there's setbacks along the way, but you just have to, maybe call a friend and they'll remind you of the journey you're on, and that everything's going to be just fine.
Yeah,
And that when things happen, it happens for a reason, and we're just realigning energy and moving forward. And you're always going to be surrounded by people that are going to uplift you and support you. Um, and that's so important to let the people go that are not, right? And sometimes it's very hard, but
of
you
course it's
do.
hard.
But
Yeah.
you do. Yep.
But we talked about the power of not staying stagnant and always
Yes.
growing and expanding. And it's sometimes it's that funny way from the universe to
Yes.
remind us that, like, hey, you're getting too comfortable. Here is a little
Yep.
challenge,
Exactly.
and
Yep,
and
exactly.
right, and
And I've
seeing it
had,
for what it is.
and
Yeah,
it's fun. Like I've had four new people join the team this month, so we're doing training with them now. It's just so exciting,
beautiful.
and I'm so
Yes,
lucky. I say this often too. I'm so lucky to be always excited. Like there's they're so excited, right?
yes,
To feed off that energy and for that to uplift you. But not only that, to work in an industry, and I said this just the other day at our meeting, how lucky are we? Every single day we go to work, we have someone tell us we did a good job for the most part, right?
yeah,
You're
yeah,
doing a wedding, people walk in, if you're the florist, and they're like, "Ah, this room smells amazing. It looks so
yeah,
pretty. Thank you so much." Or the decor, or, the photographer might not hear it for a little bit, but until they'll show them back the camera and they'll get excited about their photos. After the ceremony, when people come up to you and they're like, wow, that was so personal, that was the most beautiful thing, and you're like, oh my gosh, thank you. Not that you constantly need a pat on the back, but it is kind of nice because I know my partner doesn't go to work and people say, thank you, thanks for doing that for me. So it's
yeah,
we're so fortunate.
yeah.
We really are.
Yeah, it's helpful, right?
Mhm.
It's helpful and it's nice. It creates beautiful energy that then
it's
multiplies because then
it does.
you're sharing that, right? It's contagious.
Absolutely, it is
Yeah,
contagious.
yeah,
We are really lucky in
yeah,
this industry. We
yeah.
really are.
And I'm thinking about the energy because you're also in my Goal Power Up program. And
I am
right, so
so
tell
fun.
me, how are you finding it?
Oh my gosh, it feels more like a mastermind again, right? It feels like being in this collective, and this situation is beautiful women, right? It's all women, and again, just bouncing ideas off each other, remembering some foundations, learning new things, right? And then connecting with a whole new group of people that are going to help support you and uplift you and cheer you on and be your little cheerleaders. I mean, what's not to love about that, right? And then to get to see you and your beautiful energy that you share with people and all of your incredible business background and knowledge, I mean, it's so fun. And and also it's just making me remember, to carve those times out, right?
Mhm.
Instead of just helter-skelter flowing along, right? Just, oh, things will get done, but being more purposeful about it. And then you're holding us accountable, because usually it's like you're being our little teacher and you're giving us homework on Monday and we're coming back Wednesday. And we get our dance break in the middle of Wednesday session, which was fun to DJ this
You
week. So thank you
were
for
the DJ. It was
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you for
Spice Girls.
amusing me. Um it was spice up your life, right? We have to spice up our
We do.
life.
It's
That's
up
what
to
it's all
us.
about.
That's right. That's right. Because yeah, like what you and thank you for sharing that and saying all those kind words, Kathy. Thank you so much. Because like I remember when, we started our business, because I ran my business together with my husband, and
Mhm.
we're like, yeah, we actually still really like each other, right?
Right?
So we're laughing about it. It's been over 5 years now, because you don't know, but it's I found in the beginning, like when you go from corporate and all your day is planned for you,
Right.
to then become this entrepreneur, it's like, yeah, I have clients and I'm starting to book more clients, but schedule is kind of all over, right? And no one is telling you what to do, so it's like, when do you
Yes.
do these things? So it became critical, I know, for me. And I think I was just very lucky that even though I think at heart I'm a creative and kind of
Yes.
a visionary, but because of the business school and the 20-year corporate training, I have the systems.
Right.
And right, so even though sometimes, well, all the time, when I have, because I have always like million ideas, but
Yes.
suddenly in the moment it's almost like the genie, I can do like, right? And then they are all,
Yes.
right? They're
I
all
know.
suddenly all organized. And I'm like, okay,
I
so the next step
know.
is this, and this. But
I know.
it kind
It's
of took me right over 20 years. And now I think with the business, I had a chance to work on that craft. What is that schedule? And for me, I found I always wished I had that accountability,
yeah.
and doing it in a fun way, because I like fun. And
Yes.
when you are living your purpose and you're loving what you do, who says you have to be boring and do it in a boring way?
You do not.
You
You do
do
not.
not. So,
You
so when
don't.
you do it with people that you're like, oh my God, right? It's like
Hmm.
always seems like a big party. And I know, like the other day, who was it? Someone like booked couple big client
Yeah.
meetings, and right, writing a book and launched the podcast and sent out like 10, building a workshop and sending all these referrals. And I had a message from someone's like, Isabella, like, you have no idea what I accomplished in a week.
Yeah.
I didn't do this in like 6 months, so I'm like, oh
Same.
my God. Yeah, see,
That's and I
beautiful.
I said I feel like I'm on fire right now, right?
You are
I
on
know.
fire.
I feel like holy smokes. Some of it maybe a little bit was planned already, but it just feels so much more purposeful. I don't know how to describe it, but I feel really good about what's happening. I feel like again, like I have done so much in these first 6 weeks or so of this year, 2025. What an incredible year it's going to be. um I just feel like I'm getting so much accomplished, right? All those things that have been like, yeah, 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 I'll work on that. Again, for us, this time of year is booking season, right? We just came out of engagement season. All those people, Thanksgiving to New Year's Day is like there's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. All these people get engaged at Thanksgiving in those days, in that time, and then they all book their venues from January to March, and then their vendors. Right, there is a bit of a season. There's lots
Yeah.
of bridal shows right now. I just got to be in a really high end show that I hadn't done for a few years, so it's a compliment
Hmm.
because it's very vetted, right?
Yeah.
To get to be part of something like, but I just feel
And
like, wow,
congratulations
I
on
don't,
that, by the way.
I just don't, I just feel like I'm getting so much done
Yes.
and I have more energy. Like, I just feel so re-energized
You-
and excited again.
I know. I
Yeah,
just, shivers went through me
I
because,
know.
yes, this is what happens, right?
Yep.
When the right people, right collective and community
100%.
finds each other, and we dance and we cry, and
Yes,
it's awesome.
it
It's,
is
yeah,
awesome.
it's
Yes.
awesome. So whoever is watching, if you guys are like, what the heck are they talking about? So we are in the Goal Power Up program. It's a 12-week program. You can still join, and you'll just get a part of credit to any future group coaching or one-on-one coaching. So check it out in the bio, in the link, or just send me a message if you wanted to be part of it. We learn, and we actually get lots done,
Yeah,
right?
you have a
Some of that
word for that. We get something done. Yeah, on Wednesdays
on
we do.
Wednesdays, GSD,
We,
right? GSD
yeah, yeah,
Wednesdays.
yep, we do.
Amazing. And you're so, yeah, you're so engaged. And I'm so proud, because it's like the one thing is someone says they're going to do something and someone is learning, but then the next step is to really take that action. And
Yeah.
it's almost like I see you as, you have this saying of the year being like that year of yes. You're like, yes to you, yes to your dreams, yes to your building your team and your business.
Unstoppable, right?
That's yes.
Thank
All
you.
of it.
That's the word that you made. Well, you made us all pick out a word, right? For 2025, and I won't get into it too much, but someone out of nowhere just didn't even know my word and said, "You're going to be unstoppable in 2025."
Wow.
And they said that, and they didn't know that that was my word, and I thought that was very cool.
That is very cool. See, people can feel the energy. And I know you did in part of your, on Tuesday, you had your community, right? Everyone was picking
Yes,
their words. Yeah.
I inspired them all to go and pick their word, and they're all writing it in now, and everybody's excited for this year. And that was another, we had a beautiful speaker lined up, and then she had a sick baby at home, and that happens, and you
I,
have to pivot, and that's part of life, right? And luckily, I had my handy dandy book
oh,
of Isabella goals, right? I have so many notes in here already. I could just refer back and say, okay, I've got this. I'll just roll with
yes.
101 Isabella today.
Yes.
And, and I pulled it out, and it was great. And we had a really great meeting. When I thought, oh boy, what am I going to do
Yeah.
now? In the morning you're like, but it always works out, right?
Yeah.
And I think even if we just shared, I quite often it's just like, okay, well, where were you? Where are you now? Where are you going? Right.
Yeah.
And how can we help you get there? Right. So,
Beautiful.
and it's just even that sometimes of, the next month saying, hey, how did that work out? Right. Remember that was going on. Is everything okay? Right. And it is action, and I've been to lots of conferences, and you come home and you're all excited, or one day workshops or whatever, and then you just take it, and you've got all the books, right? You walk in the door and you're like, psh, into my office and in the pile. Yeah, I'll get to that. But this is just more hands-on, right? So
Yeah.
it is forcing action because you're sitting there with us.
Yes, especially on
Making sure
GSD
we are, right? I know it's
and I
great.
call you. Yeah, I'm like,
You
I
call
see
us
you.
out.
Put on the camera. I see what you're doing. And but Cathy, what you just shared about when the speaker couldn't make it because life happened, right? Because
Yeah,
that's the reality of things as an entrepreneur.
absolutely. Happens
And
all the time.
yeah, but you pulled your CEO mindset. It's like, okay, as a CEO, what am I going to do, right? And often people hear me talk about, instead of saying I can't, it's like, how can I?
Yeah,
And for you in that situation, you felt so empowered that you're like, you know what? I know that is the result and that's the situation. Okay, how I'm going to turn it around?
yeah.
No problem. We're going to engage, right? We're going to
Right.
act like a CEO, and we're going to talk with the community about their goals for the year. What is the word? Because I find the life, and that was the perfect example,
Yeah.
life will continue through things, right? And if you
Yep.
just see it as another challenge, you're like, no problem, I got this.
I can, we'll just go with it, right? Just brush it off and go on.
Exactly.
You can't just get into, we talk about analyze, paralyze. You can't
Yeah.
just get in that. If you get into that spiral, then you're not going to have
Yeah.
anything happen,
No,
right? So
no.
you got to put it.
And I find when you have that power word to
Hmm.
ground you, to really anchor you,
Just
how you
remember.
want to feel, right? And show up. So for your point was, if you're unstoppable, no matter what happens, you're like, wait, what does unstoppable Cathy do?
In
She
this
takes,
situation.
in this situation, she takes charge. She
And
acts like
there's
a
been
CEO.
situations this year that, it's been like, whoo.
Yeah.
And thank you for picking up the phone because,
Oh, you're welcome.
sometimes you need someone to snap you out of it quickly and like remind you. Um, and you go on, right? And so it's great to have people that will pick you up
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
And and just be supportive of
Yeah.
each other and just do that for one another for
Yeah.
sure.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. We always need, cheerleaders in our corners, right? Because sometimes, especially I think as women, we have our also, some
Hmm.
hormones
Yeah,
that sometimes may come
maybe.
into play,
Possibly.
possibly. And, in those situations, I like, honestly, now it's like, hey, are you testing me again? Are you It's like,
I
hello, what
I
would,
know.
right, that empowered Isabella do right now? And I just don't let it.
Yeah.
And I have my tools. I think
Yes.
leaning on to people and having the strategies and the tools. So, and it takes a while, right, to figure out what really can work for you.
1,000%. Yeah. And those tools are so good. And sometimes you just have to reach into the toolbox once in a while and remember they're there. Remember you're carrying the toolbox around with you at all times. So you have to remember it's there, right?
Yeah, you have to remember. So, what's an easy tool for you um, that you can maybe offer up or share with someone that's watching today?
Oh boy. Um, there's thoughts, but it's just like I have a lot of little slogans or sayings, right? One day at a time, take it easy. All those little, just breathe, right? Sometimes it's just a moment of pausing,
Mm-hmm.
taking a few big, deep breaths, like real, proper, deep, big breaths, right? And
Mm-hmm.
just sitting in the moment and you can't, you have to pause and not be reactive in the moment. So
Yeah. Yeah.
breathe.
Breathing.
Oh,
I actually love, yeah, like the box. There is a box breathing. Sometimes people call it square breathing.
hmm.
When you breathe in
Yes.
for four, you hold for four, you exhale for four, hold for four. And I think we've done it a couple of times. It really can
Yeah.
reset your nervous system.
Yeah. And it does. And it
Yeah.
does.
And it's free and you can do it anywhere.
Exactly. And it calms you, right?
Yeah.
And then I have a 101-year-old Nana. Um,
I
and
know. Amazing.
she's so fantastic. And my favorite tool from her is the glass half full, but perspective.
Mm,
No matter what you're going through and no matter how big it feels to you, it's really not a big thing in the universe in comparative to what other people are trying to suffer through that day, or what other people are going through. When you think of perspective, even if it's a big thing, like it was like the loss of my father, and then having 9/11 happen, and then seeing all these babies being born who never even get to meet their father. And yes, I was young. Yeah, was it great? Was it
yeah.
fair? No.
Yeah.
But I got to learn so much from such an amazing man,
Yeah.
right? And have
Yeah.
he would laugh through everything, and it's just that, right? It's
Pers-
perspective.
perspective. So powerful.
Yep.
So powerful. So,
It's,
Cathy, thank you so much. Did you know
thank
that we
you.
actually talked for, and I, I
We
didn't, yeah, I think
said
we
half
said,
an hour.
oh my God, we said it will be half an hour and it's been like an hour. So
Yeah.
this is what happens, right? When you're,
No.
yeah, when
Yeah,
you're
we could talk all day, and I, love
all
chatting with you, and
day.
yeah,
You too.
love it.
So how do people find you and get in touch with you?
Yes. So my website is Cathy Davis and Company. So that's Cathy with a C, Davis and company.com. You can email me at Cathy Davis Officiant at Gmail. I'm on Instagram, Cathy Davis Officiant, Facebook. I'm sure if you type in Cathy, Redhead, Officiant, whatever, Niagara, I may pop up. So I'm pretty easy to find.
Okay,
Yeah,
amazing. And I'll put our live on YouTube. So whoever is
amazing.
on YouTube, I
Yeah.
would appreciate if you guys like and share and
Yes.
subscribe, because we really want to create this movement of really
Yes.
no more hassle, but more of love and purpose and empowerment, and taking those inspired actions and bringing more harmony to our businesses and our lives. Because when we surround ourselves with the right people and have the right strategies, we create beautiful life. And
Yes.
life is
And
too short
it's
not to.
amazing. It is. And, if you're interested in joining community, please look up Event Professionals of Niagara or Niagara's Creative Entrepreneurs. They're both on Instagram too. And be part of a community that, will help and support and guide you. And I love connecting with people, and I do so many coffee dates in a week. And I love that, right? I love learning about
Yeah,
people's businesses and about them as a person, and, how we can help each other.
beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
whoever is watching, yeah, follow Cathy. She is incredible, especially when you have that business in the wedding industry. She is someone who you want in your corner. So I'm hoping, yeah, you get to meet a lot of people through this.
Thank
And
you.
if anyone wants to be part of this soaring collective of women who are supportive on Facebook community, join us. It's free. She Source Collective, or just get in touch with me and I'll make sure I'll put you in. And everyone, I want to really thank Cathy for taking an hour of her time to share her beautiful story and tips, how to build an amazing community. And just wanted to wish everyone a beautiful weekend
Yeah.
full of sunshine and amazing
Sun is
energy.
shining.
I
Yeah.
know it came out.
I
So
know.
lucky.
So excited.
So
And the
excited.
days are getting longer. It's beautiful.
Life is
Life
great.
is amazing.
It's
It
amazing.
really is.
Thank you so
Thank
much, my
you.
beautiful friend.
Thank
Thank you all
you.
for joining us today.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.